Hi 607, this is part 2 of my feedback on the designs that you uploaded on Friday. So starting off with Arush here. Okay, so I see that you've added a little tagline below Phuket. I think that works better. Helps occupy the space more as well. Yeah, nice variety of pictures. We talked about the body text font. I still think this white here works better than up there, but it's hard to think of a better solution, a better compromise. So I think that you are pretty much good to go now. All right, let's go to Angelo. Beautiful Bangkok. I think the title, this font could be bigger, both of them. I'm not sure about this diagonal. I can imagine that you put it there to kind of echo the diagonal that you've got going here. I'm not sure about it myself. I think that you might be better off having a filled diagonal here rather than having an outline diagonal. So maybe if you had this, let's say you use this turquoise here and placed it here without the line, and then just had this the color that it is, I think that might work better. Okay, so maybe consider that. Either way, beautiful Bangkok, I think you need to increase the size of the font and space it out. Okay, so it's occupying more of this space here and more of this space here as well. Okay, pretty good grid alignment of most of the elements. This word attractions is too close to this diagonal line here. I would strongly suggest that you put it down in line with this picture. So that might mean just moving this down a touch, maybe bring the picture up a touch as well. Okay, and this is looking okay. I wouldn't center your text. I would recommend that you have it aligned to the left. Okay, so all of these body text you've got centered, align them to the left. Okay, that's pretty much it for this one. Okay, let's go to Emma Kolipi. Okay, you've got nice, I like this display font you've used here. Generally speaking, I said this to someone else, can't remember who it was, but I do not recommend that you use capitalized text in body text. Okay, so I would strongly advise you to change this. Okay, it's not so readable as lowercase, so I think you need to. I'm guessing this font only comes in capital form. I recommend you change it. Okay. Also, if you can, I'm not sure it's going to be possible, I would align these little subtitles here with the top of the images that they're relating to. So this paragraph is relating to sea life, so it makes sense to have that subtitle subheading next to the image it's referring to. So that might mean that you're going to have to take away some of the text, you know, certainly in this local food category. Remove a line, remove a sentence, and then that will allow you to move things down in place. Okay? Yavraj. Okay, let's just. Okay, good. So you've moved that Kolkata up. It's kind of like occupying both halves of the layout. I think that works well. And you've aligned everything as well. I'm not sure why this body text is looking underlined. I'm hoping it's just because it's a screenshot, or when you actually make it a PDF, it won't be there. Either way, you do need to try to get rid of that. But that's all I'd say. I think that you've got a nice variety to the pictures. The layout's looking good as well. Possibly think about using a background other than white. I don't know. Maybe an off-white is always a good option. Same for the text here. Something that's close to white but not totally white. It just looks less stark. Okay, a bit more sophisticated as well. Okay, Varsha. I think we talked about this. I do like what you've got going here, Banff. It's tilted text here. Maybe it's a little bit close to the top edge, but I like the angle that you've got it at. Has character, it looks dynamic, and it echoes the kind of the angles that you've got going here, framing these pictures. This mountains text is still too close to this point here, so I think it needs shifting down. I think I said to you as well, reduce the font size, don't have it in bold, and have more breathing room left and right, and top and bottom as well, actually. So, you know, shift down some of these elements, make more space here, and reduce the font size, okay? That would be my recommendation for you. Sophia. Yeah, the spacing here is still too big. Might require some editing on your part, just so that you can extend these pictures over a bit, maybe half the distance between the two pictures actually. This body text is okay. I think the title, I would look for a different font, something that has more character to it. This is kind of a little bit bland, a bit characterless, doesn't really capture anything cultural about the place. So I think you might want to look for something else, something that is more demonstrably related to that location. Okay, also the different sizes here, I'm not convinced how well that's working either. So a bit of rethinking there in terms of spacing and in terms of this font here. Okay, Jisoo. Chiang Mai. Okay, only 2 pictures here. That's not what we were looking for, is it? We were looking between 3 and 6 pictures. So, you know, you've kind of failed to meet one of the criteria that you were given at the start of the unit. So if you could squeeze in another picture, that would be better, I think. But if you can't, I mean, the clock is ticking, so you need to think about practicality. I do like the font that you've got for the title here. I wonder whether it could be moved up a bit. Maybe if you change the colour, let's say you change it to a very light colour, then it'd be readable even overlapping this photo here. And it would also help unify the layout a little bit. I think that the body text is way too big here, and way too big. It doesn't look the same size either. The bottom and the top don't look the same size. So I think this is still too big at the bottom. I think you need to reduce it several points, and then you're going to have more breathing room at the bottom as well. So another picture, an extra picture brought in. Reduce the font size of your body text will be my main recommendations, and consider changing the colour of this Chiang Mai, maybe increasing the size of it a bit as well, and then moving it up so it actually overlaps this picture at the top as well as coming down into the bottom a little bit. And you could even try drop shadowing it if you have that effect on the app you're using. Okay. Trisha, Nha Trang. Okay. Nice and light and airy feel about this. This space here between Nha Trang and the paradise you were looking for, if you created these 2 elements in different text boxes, which I hope you did, you can just shift this bottom tagline up a little bit. I think it's a bit too far from the bottom of the word Nha Trang, so you can push it up so it's more united. Okay. The rest of it's looking okay. I think in this space here, it's a bit of an uncomfortable space. It could accommodate a couple of captions. One that tells us a bit about this temple here, what it is, and another one which tells us a bit about this, maybe some of the other pictures, maybe this one to the left and the bottom one as well. So you could have 3 lines, one which says above, one which says left, one which says bottom, and tells us about these images. And then similarly here, you could have a couple of captions which tell us about the 2 images to the right. Okay, so you could say far right and right, and then explain what we're looking at exactly. Okay. Lorenzo, Kyoto, nice font, really matches to me. It kind of like does exude something about the culture of the place. Just want to double check that these font sizes are all the same. They look close to being the same. I'm just not sure whether they exactly are. So just make sure that they are. This box here, culture, I think that culture needs to be in line with the top picture. And foods needs to be in line with the top of this picture also. And the same with these two. They need to be in line with the image here at the top. And the other thing is, you've got two different widths to these columns. You need them to be consistent, I would say. What you might want to do on this page is you might want to just have one wider column which has two sections to it. One is an overview, another one is the scenery, and it could just all be in the same column but spaced between the two paragraphs, if that makes sense. Okay, and the very last one, Cushy. Okay, London seems to be understated here. I think you need to have a much bigger heading for this poster, which might require a bit of rearranging of your layout. Yeah, also the body text, you've used a different font. You've used a sans serif on the left and a serif, something like Times New Roman on the right. You need to be consistent with that. You don't want to be having body text that's using different fonts. So stick with one. I would recommend going with the sans serif on the left. But you do need to increase the size of London somehow. So you might need to reduce the font size of that body text. Okay, I mean the arrangement of the pictures is good, but something is going to have to change in order to make the title a bit bigger. Okay. All right, so that concludes this second bit of feedback. All right. Speak to you, I think, on Wednesday.